All right, Coach, tell me, game one, Mount Horeb, same team you guys ended last year with. Just what were you guys looking at coming in, and how well do you think the guys played?
I mean, we were coming in to be 1-0, and that was the goal from the start. And started off well. We ended up scoring first on them, and had a turnover. And things seemed like they were really, really going to roll for us. But Mount Horeb is an awfully explosive team, and we didn't even know quite what they were going to have there. But a lot of our focus was trying to take away Isaiah Lejour on his deep routes and his ability to make big plays. And for the most part, we did a pretty good job with that, but their running game really took over and did a nice job today.
You guys are exchanging three quarterbacks right now. After years of having kind of that one guy you knew you could have, or a really good backup this year, you got three new guys and just kind of threw them all in there. What'd you see from each of them?
They all bring a little bit of a different element to the game. And, Jake being a junior, he's the only kid with anywhere near a varsity experience playing football. He played JV last year, but yet he had some reps here and there with the varsity. And then the two sophomores that are both playing freshman ball last year. I mean, it's a tall order. And we looked at that as, kind of our stretch here in the beginning where we know we've got some really tough opponents. Letting those kids all take some time and get acclimated to football and see which one's, going to emerge. They're all doing nice things, and they all have a lot to learn. But, we'll just evaluate them on film and see where we go from there.
Lost some big boys on the offensive line, but for the most part tonight, they seemed like they were getting after it, not as much as you would like, but they were kind of finding their way.
Yeah, and we got Ryan Hughes playing both ways, and he's playing offensive line out of necessity. He's played in the backfield since he's been in high school. But we asked him right away at the beginning of the season, we're going to need you to play tackle. We're thinner up front than we are in the backfield, and he said, whatever helps the team, And we got Brett Zimmerman playing both ways, and those kids get pretty gassed, And towards the middle of the game, Sean Saxby was playing defense, and he's our center. And so they were aggressive. They played hard, but they got tired, and we knew it was going to happen, and we did everything we could to try to slow the tempo of the game down. They helped us out with a couple guys that got injured in the beginning of the game that took a while to get off the field, but yet at the pace that Mount Horeb plays at, they're going to run you down, and for as many two-way players as we have, it was tough to keep up with that.
You had a lot of guys see the field, the varsity field, for the first time tonight. Just what's it like evaluating them as a coach while still trying to coach and win that game?
It's a handful, really. It is, because we were very senior dominated last year, no question. We returned some very good players, but not a lot of them. A lot of the kids that started tonight have never stepped on a varsity football field, and some of them have never stepped on a football field. We got some juniors and seniors that have never been out for football before, and those kids were starting tonight. And so to really tell somebody what playing a varsity football game is like against the state semifinalist Mount Horeb-Barneveld team, who had an undefeated JV season, I mean that's a handful. But a lot of those kids, from what I saw on the sidelines, did a nice job, and they caught on pretty quickly. But I can't wait to watch film. I'm really excited to go watch film and just evaluate this a lot, because there's a lot to see and a lot that we are, unsure of with a lot of kids.
You guys got Wanakee next week, so it's not like it gets any easier. They're on their heels from losing their first game against Edgewood, a team you guys are also going to have to face this year.
Yep.
But what can you guys take going into next week against Wanakee?
We're and what I've really liked about this team so far is that everybody keeps talking about our grinder schedule, and the reality is it is a grinder schedule, playing the top three teams from the north traditionally every single year, and then opening the conference season with Monona Grove, who has been our conference champion for multiple years now. We know I got a tall order for the first 4 weeks, but our kids aren't afraid to step on the field with anybody, and nobody was wide-eyed and said, oh, we shouldn't be here with Mount Horeb today, and nobody's going to do that next week. And so if we are healthy and have a good week of practice, I have no doubts that we're going to go give them a handful next week.
You mentioned guys like Hughes and Zimmerman. You got Charlie Kine, who had 2 interceptions tonight. Cody Wolf, who scored the touchdown. Those guys just seem to be kind of like the core guys. And how well are they transitioning from guys that started last year but now have to be the leaders of the team?
Yeah, they're doing a nice job. And, the three names you just said, Ryan and Brett and Charlie were all voted captains for us, and they're doing, they're taking over that leadership role, and they should. They're all, they're all 3-year starters, and so those guys are something to build around. And you mentioned Cody Wolf, and Cody has really taken a leadership role, and he's a guy that gets people playing hard and fast in practice, and obviously it shows on the field in his play with a few sacks tonight and a nice touchdown run, and he's a kid that we can rally around. We got a lot of kids we can rally around, and once we start developing some more of these athletes that are still new to football, and get our offensive line to gel a little bit, and from a defensive standpoint, we're going to be just fine. So I look forward to the weeks to come.
It seemed like maybe the backbreaker tonight was not that you guys were down 20-6. Cody comes down, makes those 3 huge plays, gets the turnover. You guys get the ball back, and then he cramps up, and moments later on Monroe's drive, 60-some yards for a touchdown, and that just seemed like it really broke the game open.
That was tough, but there was a couple things that really could have changed the whole game. We were driving down inside the 15 or 20 or wherever we were, and we get a holding call, we bump back, and we throw a pick inside our own territory, and those things, if you want to beat somebody that's a good team like Mount Horeb is, and there's no doubt in my mind they're going to contend for a conference championship this year. But you just can't afford to do those things. But I think our kids are going to look at this and say, we would have really liked to have been in a different spot, but at least we know how good we can be, and that's key to go forward from here.
Looking at the conference schedule, Monona Grove is always up there. Edgewood with their big win last night. Are those 2 teams the top 2 teams, and how does the rest of the conference look like?
Well, Monona Grove should be the favorite because they're traditionally the power in the conference. But we've all known that Edgewood's got a lot of kids back, and they showed off some things last night that I wasn't expecting to see as some of their big weapons. They're going to be a great football team, but Fort Atkinson will be just as good as either of those 2. I really believe that. Oregon has a really good younger class that's coming up, and there are maybe a couple of them. And I think Coach Stasi picked Oregon to kind of be the sleeper of the league this year. And then Milton and Stoughton both have new coaches and new energy in the program. So our conference is going to be a handful. And, when isn't it? It's always welcome to the Badger Conference. And then you get to cross over and play your non-conference with the Badger Conference, So we know what it is, and we realize that, we're the small school in all of this. But our kids don't see it that way. They see it as just another team to line up and play football, and hopefully, they get something rolling next week against Wanakee, and we'll go from there.
All right. Anything else, Coach?
That sounds good.